Alright, now we move into video number 3. We're still on day 4, September 6th, chapter 2. And so, depending on their structure, dietary carbohydrates can lead to quick but brief or slow but persistent increases in blood sugar. And for somebody like me who's diabetic, I certainly understand these types of changes based on the types of food that I eat. If I eat something like an orange that is very high in fructose, my blood sugar level is going to spike and then it's going to drop off very quickly. If, however, I eat something that's a complex carbohydrate, something that takes a long time to break down in my stomach acid, and that the energy will be released over a long period of time, you can see here that the sugar is released into the blood and then sustained over a long period of time. And so depending on what it is that you're going to do, if you're trying to get a spike in your blood sugar, then drinking orange juice, having something with a very simple fructose sugar in it, would be what you would be attempting to do. If, however, you're attempting to have enough energy for the rest of your morning, then eating something like oatmeal with dried fruits in it would be what you would want to do, because it would help to sustain your blood sugar and not lead to that rapid drop-off that you see happening right here. So another thing that we can see is that not all carbohydrates are digestible. Just like we've talked about fructose and glucose and disaccharides and monosaccharides and polysaccharides, there are going to be some carbohydrates that are not able to be digested by humans at all. One of the first ones we see is chitin. Chitin makes up this exoskeleton of a lobster, or really of any of the shellfish. And if you go to Red Lobster and you sit down and have yourself a nice lobster dinner, you don't eat the outside part of the lobster. You're eating the seafood protein that is inside. But you're not eating this outside part, because even if you ate it, your body wouldn't be able to digest it, and that certainly wouldn't feel well coming out. And so we also see that cellulose gives trees this rigidity to be able to grow up and stand up very tall, and that's why wood is a desirable building material. But if you were to go out and start eating a tree, you would not be able to digest that. So there are going to be certain types of carbohydrates that are out there that are not digestible by us as humans. However, there are certain types of animals that can digest that. If you think about organisms that can digest wood, like the termites that we haven't gotten to work with yet, or the animals that eat these lobsters that are able to digest this, that is just not possible in humans, is possible in other types of organisms. So another type of thing that is indigestible to humans is fiber. Fiber aids in digestion. It has numerous health benefits, but it's not something that actually breaks down. And for those of you that are dieting, you may have heard if you eat something high in fiber, it helps you to remain full feeling longer. And that fiber is usually coming from some type of plant material. So what we call fiber is things that are roughage. If you eat lettuce, if you eat spinach, if you eat broccoli, things that are leafy, that is something that's not easily digested very quickly. But it does help to clean out the body. So since it remains in an undigested form as it moves through your digestive system, it can actually help to prevent colon cancer or reduce colon cancer, because it can scrape out the inside of you. So some of you know what it feels like after you've eaten too much broccoli. It basically cleans you out. Things like termites, however, that are able to eat cellulose, like coming straight from trees, they play an ecological role in helping to break down those trees as they fall down in the environment. So although it's not digestible, cellulose is still an important to our diet. Okay, the next one we are going to get to is lipids. Lipids store energy for a rainy day. So as you can see, this seal has probably eaten a whole bunch, and he's storing that blubber so that when food isn't available to him, he will have energy and he can stay warm. So lipids are macromolecules with several functions, including energy storage. So this is kind of an interesting question. Why does a salad dressing made with vinegar and oil separate into two layers shortly after you shake it? So if you think of your bottle of Italian dressing, you know that you have to shake it up because there's that layer of oil on the top and the layer of all the other good stuff on the bottom. That is because the two different things, the vinegar and the oil, are hydrophobic versus hydrophilic, and we'll go on to look at what those mean. In our introduction to lipids, lipids are the blubber, are the fat. In some cases, they are different types of steroids that help your body to grow and develop, or they can be the membrane around the outside of your cells. The reason they're so important to your body is because the outside plasma membrane of the that is made up of fat is not going to dissolve in water, and so much of your body, your blood is made up of water. That makes it so that your cells don't dissolve in your blood water. It also makes them greasy to the touch. So if you've ever touched something really fatty, it's got that greasy component to it. And it is a significant source of energy storage. Lipids are usually going to have 9 calories per gram, whereas carbohydrates and proteins have 4 calories per gram. Fats are made to be tasty. Humans have evolved to appreciate fats because as our ancestors might have not had food all of the time, they would have wanted and been attracted to sources of food that were high in fat so that they could store it for a rainy day. So this is kind of what our fats or triglycerides are looking like. They are also composed primarily of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, but they have a different formation to them. They have a head, and then they have these 3 little tails right here. And once again, they have energy stored in their carbon and hydrogen bonds. Fat molecules contain much more stored energy than carbohydrate molecules. So if you had your choice between a tasty donut and a bowl of cereal, a lot of you are going to pick the tasty donut because we have actually evolved to prefer the tastiness of things that are high in fat. That's why you're so attracted to your chips and your ice cream and your greasy eggs and hash browns and butter. Because fats have so much energy in them, animals have evolved a strong taste preference for them over other energy sources. There are 2 different types of fats, saturated and unsaturated fats. The number of bonds in the hydrocarbon chain in the fatty acid are going to determine whether it's saturated or unsaturated, and that also is of health concerns. So here we see our saturated fats. We've got like our cheeses and our butters and our eggs, and they are going to have lots of fats packed tightly together and are going to be solid at room temperature. Then we have our unsaturated fats that have less packed together, not densely packed together fats, and they are going to be liquids at room temperature, so going to be healthier for you. Think of things like olive oil. So saturated fats, things that are solid at room temperature, not healthy. Things that are liquids at room temperature, often going to be more healthy for you. Chocolate chip recipes call for some lipids, and that can change whether or not the cookie is very chewy or whether it is kind of dry and crumbly. And so that's why often things that are healthier are drier, and things that are less healthy have that gooey, greasy chewiness that makes them taste so good to us. Another interesting thing is hydrogenation. This is the artificial addition of hydrogen atoms to unsaturated fat. This can improve a food's taste, its texture, and its shelf life. So that's why these artificially preserved donuts or different pastries taste better and last longer on the shelves because they have been given that extra hydrogen that makes them so that you are more attracted to them. This is kind of a trick that the unhealthy food market plays on you, plays on your taste buds. And so that's why oftentimes food that you prepare at home is going to be more healthy than food that is prepared using this process of hydrogenation. Here we see what the hydrogenated fats look like. In this case, we have unsaturated fatty acid, and this is the partially hydrogenated. When you get hydrogenated trans fats, they increase your risk of heart disease because it's actually bad for your body. But your body is more attracted to eating those things. So it's kind of this war that is going along inside of ourselves with our taste buds. Another thing that's made up of lipids is cholesterol and phospholipids. They're used to build sex hormones and membranes. So not all lipids are fats. There is a certain group of them that are called the sterols, or for those of you that have heard of steroids, they are made up of lipids. Sterols look like this. They're important components of cell membranes in animals. They can attach to the vessel walls and cause them to thicken, which can lead to high blood pressure, stroke, and heart attack. That's why certain people are predisposed to having high cholesterol, whereas other people don't have problems with cholesterol no matter what it is that they eat. Then you may have heard of things like estrogen and testosterone. Those are the sex hormones. They regulate your sex development, your maturation, your sex cell production, which is the production of your egg or sperm, depending on whether you're male or female. Estrogen can affect women's memory and mood, so that actually can affect them if you look at the changes in their menstrual cycle. And then changes in testosterone can stimulate muscle growth. That's why some men who take steroids get bigger muscles, and we hear of that as a problem.